What's up, YouTube? Are you wondering what's going on with Affinity? So am I, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Welcome back. My name is Ben. I'm a media design educator, and today we're looking at what's going on with Affinity right now. Now, if you don't know, Affinity creates a software suite of apps, Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, and Affinity Publisher, which competes directly with Adobe's Creative Clouds in the graphics design and photography space. So they've been doing this for a while, and just recently on October 1st, they took down their store so that you couldn't purchase their apps anymore, put up a thing saying they're making an announcement on October 30th and letting you sign up to learn about that announcement. Now, they are saying in some things that they are doing this to cause it so there isn't confusion between versions. So there's a lot of concern and angst in the community around Affinity right now because of this announcement. It's really strange. Nothing like this has ever really happened before for Affinity. So let's kind of break it down, but first a little bit of history. So starting way back more than 10 years ago, they released Affinity Designer. Now, I was a pretty early user. I think I started around January of 2015 with this. So not too long after they had released Affinity Designer, I started using Affinity. And this is because we're looking for alternatives to Adobe's subscription model because that was really expensive. Adobe's subscription model had started just a few years before. And so we're looking for alternatives, and Affinity Designer comes out. Then Affinity Photo is the next one to release. And it doesn't release that much later. It releases in July 2015. So there wasn't even a year in between those and they come out. And so we're looking at 10 years now since Affinity Photo came out. And then Affinity Publisher was teased for a long time. This is the competitor to InDesign, and it took a long time for it to come out. It didn't come out until June of 2019, almost 4 years later. So it took a long time for them to build it out. And then that was all version 1. All version 1 had been released and was going. At that point, it became a question of when version 2 was going to come out. Well, that happened in November of 2022. Now, bear in mind that 2019 to 2022 were all pandemic years, right? If you released in 2019, the next year you were immediately hit with the pandemic, so there may have been some slowdown in development based on that. So then the next big thing that happened was in March of 2024, Canva, the company that creates the online-based design software, purchased the company Serif, which makes the Affinity software. And so that was really a big deal. It was seen as a betrayal by the community in a lot of ways of the folks at Serif as kind of a sellout to a major company that relied on subscription-based pricing. People primarily come to Affinity for one major reason, and that is that it has single purchase licensing for professional design and photo software. And that is in contrast to Adobe. So that's their main selling point. Canva, on the other hand, is a subscription-based software. And so people felt a lot of concern over that. Now, there is another reason that some people come to Affinity, or maybe an additional reason that people coming for the pricing come for, and that is to kind of get away from AI these days. Adobe has leaned really heavy into AI, and some creatives don't like that, like myself, and have moved away from it because of that. Now, Canva also leans really heavy into AI. So of course there's a lot of concern over this and how it will affect Affinity in the future. Then we have this takedown of the store, we have this new announcement, and everyone has a lot of concern about it. But let's think about what's happening here. If we look at it, we had a long time between the initial release of version 1 of Affinity Designer and the eventual release of version 2 of Affinity Designer. Now, it wasn't so long, it was just 4 years between the release of Affinity Publisher version 1 and Affinity Publisher version 2, because all those version 2s came out together because they were all working together via the Studio Link feature. So if this is about version 3, where are we really at in the timeline? Well, we're 3 years out, almost exactly, from the release of version 2. So that makes me think that, yeah, this does seem like version 3, and some of the language that Affinity has used has said we don't want to cause confusion between versions, and that's why we don't have an opportunity to purchase right now. That's why purchasing has been shut off for a month. So that would make sense because 4 years during the pandemic, 3 years now, seems like a good time. The other thing to remember is, how does Affinity make money? They make money selling software. If they don't use a subscription model, they only make money when new purchasers buy their software, or when they release new software so that old purchasers will buy it again. And that's how the single purchase license has been set up. Now, this was the main software method for forever, but it's kind of unique in today's subscription economy. So they do need to release a new version if they want to make more money. The thing is, when they first released Affinity Designer, there was all of this room for growth of people frustrated with Adobe. So they could go for years, right? So going for 8 years without a new version was okay in that case because there was a lot of growth opportunity. There isn't so much growth opportunity anymore because a lot of the people who are going to switch from Adobe have already done so. So they do need new versions to come out periodically in order to incentivize new purchase. Now, in order to do that, it needs to be good enough that people want to move up, because otherwise people can just stay on version 2. So it does seem like the most obvious answer here is that version 3, or whatever they're going to call it, is coming out. Maybe it's Affinity Pro, who knows what they're going to call it, but whatever the equivalent of version 3 is, it's probably coming out. Now, whether that will be subscription or not is unknown at this point. Canva introduced a lot of unknowns into the equation. Now, Canva made some pledges when they purchase them. And this often happens when companies purchase other companies and they are quickly and promptly forgotten. So I'm not saying that we can hold Canva to these because they probably don't really care, but they did say that perpetual licensing would always be a part of Affinity. Now, one thing that a lot of software companies have done is they've gone to a perpetual and subscription licensing. So they offer a subscription that is like $10 a month or $100 a year. And then they also offer a single purchase license, which is several $100s, so that you can just purchase that and not worry about the subscription. So that could be where they go if they want to kind of try and land in the middle. Photomator, which got purchased by Apple, they changed to this model. So they used to be single purchase, they got purchased by Apple, and now they are subscription or a hefty single purchase license. So that could be where we're going. It could be where we land, allowing Canva to keep their promise, but also start to get a subscription model and kind of roll this into their other offerings with Canva. So maybe that will be the case. But the next thing to talk about is AI. Will AI be coming more heavily into Affinity? Now, there's already machine learning that exists in Affinity, really always has been. No modern computer software exists without some kind of machine learning behind it, which is AI. The difference is generative AI. Generative AI is what a lot of creatives don't like, the computer making stuff up on its own. And I would say that this is almost certainly coming. It just doesn't seem likely that this isn't going to show up because Canva loves AI and they're in control of Affinity now. And Wall Street loves AI. So if you want to be able to generate funding around it, AI is the buzzword that gets you there. So I highly expect this to happen. It also provides a revenue stream for a lot of people. A lot of people sell either a subscription to AI or they sell AI tokens, so that when you are using generative AI, you are using these tokens that you've purchased in order to do it. Now, this isn't just because they want more money necessarily, it's because AI takes a lot to run. It has huge costs in terms of processing power, which has huge costs in terms of electricity, and then of course an environmental impact. And so you need to be able to charge for that if you're going to go that route. So I could also see that being a new source of revenue for Canva and being a major part of this announcement of version 3 or whatever it is. I think one of the things though that's really concerning people is just that we don't know. We're being left in the dark for 30 days. We don't know what's happening or what's going to happen. And there's been concern for more than a year now over what would happen to Affinity. So I think Affinity could be handling this much differently. They could be really assuaging people's fears. Unfortunately, on social media, what you're getting right now, if people comment, is really vague and maybe even AI generated responses that basically just say, Affinity is built on freedom, and that's what we love, and that's not going away. That doesn't even mean anything. So I think they could be doing more to assuage these fears. I think they are hurting their user base by going this route right now. And I think just an open conversation right out of the gate would do a lot more for that. But I don't know, Affinity's communications is now probably controlled by someone at Canva, and that's probably where this is coming from. As you can tell, I don't really trust Canva. I don't really like them, even though I did start out doing initial graphic design with them many, many years ago. It was a good entry point, but the way they've gone since, I have not loved how they've kind of just embraced template culture and AI culture and kind of just created a lot of design slop out there. So I don't have a lot of trust for them, and it's easy in this case to just want to blame them. Well, that's going to do it for today. Drop down in the comments, let me know what you think about this. Where do you think Affinity is going? Are you hopeful? What do you want to see? We'll chat in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.